What is going down, everyone? The time is here. NFL season starts Thursday night. Couldn't be more excited about it. We're ready to go. And so, before the big off the ball network NFL preview show tonight, I decided to release my 2021 week one playoff NFL power rankings. I'm sorry, I do the college playoff ranking. NFL power rankings. This is the big release. Only the guys at OTBN have seen it. It was a bit of it caused a bit of a stir last year, but I really do believe in my rankings. I really do put a lot of thought into it. It's not just, oh, there we go. It's not just clickbait. I promise. I think about it. So this is the release. This is week one. So I'm going to kind of explain my criteria, go through some, go through some of it, and then I'll touch on some of the teams that are obvious, conversation pieces, and then we'll go from there. Once again, this is Jeff Needs Sports. Follow me on Twitter at jhunt006. If you're watching, the complaint department is open. If you're listening, get at me. We talk about the teams, and I take every complaint into consideration, and I look into it. And there are times when I'm just pure wrong. I apologize for messing with my mic tonight. It is just part of the business. So here we go. I'm going to break down. So this year's I added a little twist. So I got 4 tiers this year. We're gonna have a little fun with them, but essentially I divided up evenly into 4 8-team tiers. The first one right now I'm calling the Contenders. These are obviously the teams that are ready to go to the Super Bowl and could win the Super Bowl day one. So that's a pretty obvious one there. And the next 8 down, 9 through 16, this week I'm calling it On the Verge. These titles may change throughout the year to have a little fun, but they're all going to basically mean the same thing. This is the On the Verge tier. These are teams that they probably need a break. And they may have a player or two that isn't healthy, that should, that they need to get healthy. But if everything goes right, something falls before them, they're right there to take up a playoff spot and maybe make it a run at the Super Bowl. So that's tier 2, On the Verge. The third tier, this is 17 through 24. I called this the optimistic tier. So essentially what these teams are is, they may be a young team with a plan. They may be an older team that if everything goes right with some free agent signings, if things fall the right way, like for instance, the Patriots, they can sneak into the playoffs. And then that's what this is all about. If you can get into the playoffs, then that's a whole different conversation we can have. So that's tier 3, 17 through 24. That's optimistic. They're not dead in the water, but the thing about this one, this is the turning point. If you got a young team striving to, make their way to the playoffs, this can be, you finish 17 in my rankings. That might be great. We got a team in here I'll talk about in a second. You're going the other way. You're in that NFL limbo. You're between great draft picks and an aging team that's not in the playoffs. So optimistic is you need to be optimistic. Then the next one down, 25 through 32, the last 8. This week, I called this draft position. These teams really don't have a right to hope to go to the playoffs even. Definitely not the Super Bowl, in my opinion, but they may be young teams that are building something. Like, for instance, the Jaguars. They may be a team that everybody knows is going to rebuild soon, like I think Detroit might be. But essentially, you're playing for draft position. You're going to see what your young guys can do. You're going to see what your veterans have left, and you're playing out the season, so to speak. I got a few comments here we'll take. Yes, the Bucks are at 3, Mo Murphy. I don't even know if you want them higher or want them lower. I'm getting ready to discuss it. So, and then we got another one from Josh from the Your Next Favorite Movie Pod. Great podcast out there. He says, I like where you got the Cowboys. Don't worry, they'll make Brady walk the plank Thursday night. I love it. This is what the season's all about. I'm glad I got him out there. So I want to address Tampa Bay first. That's on my list. And then I'll go over the criteria kind of at the end to explain this. So Tampa Bay at 3, that's already stood out to people. It essentially boils down to this. I know Tampa Bay is really good. I know their defense is really good. I don't think they were a fraud in the Super Bowl. I do think that their quarterback is in his 40s now. And I don't at me about he's the greatest all time. Of course, he's still a 40+ year old quarterback that can't move. And so you always just have the risk of, a rare injury or something like that. I know he's been really, really healthy for over 10 years now. I'm not saying that, but I can't if you just describe their quarterback to me, that's a slight flaw. And if you're going to give me, I've got Chiefs at number one. If you're going to give me Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to give him the edge, and I'm going to give Josh Allen the edge over Tom Brady. So that's essentially what it came down to. And that's why I got Tampa Bay at 3. Nothing wrong with being the first NFC team on my list, though. That means you're awfully good. Another one that jumped out: Steelers at number 18. I know it's way low. A playoff team. We know they went 11-0 all last year. All last year, I thought they were frauds. The last 4 or 5 games of the season, they played like it. They got destroyed in the playoffs by the up and coming Browns, who were in their division. And I don't see them getting better this year with a quarterback in Roethlisberger that just looks like he's at the end of the line. He's a Hall of Famer, and this is probably just it. So I've got him down at 18. And that is, that's drew some attention, but it is what it is. Washington football team at 13. This was a tough one. They won their division last year, but they also had a pretty, they went 7-9, I believe. So yes, I know they've got a really good defense. I personally, this came to QB. I don't believe in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Maybe it's because I, watched the Dolphins a little more too closely last year, possibly. I don't think that I just don't think that he takes them to the next level like a lot do, but I don't think they're a bad team. 13, you're in the playoffs. Let's just put it that way. So you're still in the playoffs. Your division's not great, even though obviously I have the Cowboys at number 11. I think the Cowboys are back. I think last year, I won't say it's a fluke. I don't think they're a super team, but I do think that once again, quarterback, if you're giving me the choice between Fitzpatrick and Dak, I'm going Dak. I've got the Cowboys ahead of the Washington football team, but 13 is a good starting point considering we're talking a team last year that I started off and I think around 30 and they had to work their way out of it. So that's another one. 49ers at 7. This was a tough one. I don't know why. I thought the 49ers were good when they played last year and Garoppolo was out. The whole time I thought they were a really, really good team. I love their defense. Tampa Bay showed you what a defense can do. Defense travels. This is tough because I believe the Rams are the number 4 team, and that's in the same division. They got a really tough division. But when I looked at it, I think the 49ers are better than the Browns, who I have at 8. So I couldn't justify dropping the 49ers down just because I think they may take a loss. If they get into the playoffs and they're healthy, I don't think anybody's signing up to play them. So I had the 49ers at 7. That's just a few of the teams that I don't want to touch base on here. This isn't going to be a super long show every week because I understand this is a visual. People, you got to make up their minds and think about it. It's not something that it's not as reactionary as as a game that you see and can break down. So that's kind of it. I kind of go over my criteria real quick here just so everybody knows, because I get a lot of this and I want everybody, they can always go back and listen or watch this. My criteria is essentially, football is a quarterback-driven league. They proved it for years and years now. So I really like your team to have at least a good quarterback, preferably a really good quarterback. That's a lot of points. And until proven otherwise, that's how it's going to stay. And so if you look at the list, all these teams, there's not a lot of questions. Mo Murphy says Jeff hates the AFC North. I do not hate the AFC North. I don't think Cincinnati takes the step that everybody thinks. I'm really down on Cincinnati, as you can see at 29. I think the Browns are good, but when I look at the teams above them, I don't see that they just are that much better right now. But 8 is really good for the Cleveland Browns to start the season. So I'm not going to apologize to Browns Nation. So more of my criteria. You need a quarterback. The schedule. It's so much about schedule in the NFL. Keep in mind, my power rankings are not who do I think wins a round robin tournament tomorrow. My power rankings are realistic. Who's got the path to the Super Bowl? Just like my college rankings, it's about getting to the playoffs and the championship game. It's not about who are the best 1 and 2, because that's just not how football works. We know that. We saw the NFC East wouldn't have been in the playoffs last year if that's how it works. So it's not how it works. So you got to have a path. So I think the Bills, have a nice path. The Buccaneers have a couple more hiccups on their schedule, because of being a Super Bowl team and having that playoff schedule. So you really need to have a schedule. You need to be able to pick up 8 or 9 of those comfortable wins, and then you got to figure out how to get the last 4 or 5. Division, once again, can you win your division? Because division gets you in the playoffs. So if you've got a division that's more attainable than most, like the Browns, then I really feel you're going to be in a playoff. So just so everybody knows, just like Washington football team last year, when they were leading their division, looked like they could win it. No, they didn't look like one of the best teams in the league, but they're going to make the playoffs. There's no reason for me to put them out of the playoffs when I know they're going to be in it. So, being able to defend your division titles, really, that's a big step, as we'll see as the season goes on. And then I look at the overall talent and look at the overall team, and that's my kind of tiebreakers, if you will. So I know it's a little backwards than most people do, but once again, I don't see the sense in having, say, whatever. I don't see the sense in having the Chiefs and Broncos 1 and 2 because they can't be that way. So I got to try to think about how it's going to play out. I look at every team's schedule. I come up with, the wins and losses. I'm not saying there's not flaws in this. This is really hard, especially the middle, like 10 or 12 teams in the NFL. It's almost impossible. I thought about just putting one of those Yahtzee dice rollers and shaking it and just seeing what came out. But, that's how it is. Yeah, people think I'm high on Titans. I do. I think the Titans are good. I think their division is crap. So I think they got 6 or 7 wins in the bank. And so if they can steal a few more, and this is a team, once again, right now, this is week 0, so to speak. So this is going into the season. I can't project injuries and everything. So if you're going to tell me just in imaginary, all these teams are healthy at the end of the season, the Titans as a healthy team can beat anybody. I know their defense had some struggles last year, but I don't feel I can drop them way down for predicting what could happen. They've showed over the last couple of years that they're a really good team, and when they're playing their best, they're really good. Once again, I will admit these flaws as the season progresses. I'm wrong a lot on these. This is my take. This is the way I see it. This is the way I judge the teams. I'm not skewed by any of it. I'm not copying. I actually did all this without looking at any power rankings just so I wouldn't be swayed. So, that's what you get. So here it is. This will all be out. I'll get it out on the Off the Ball Network website. It'll be on my Facebook page. That's Jeff Needs Sports. It'll be on my Twitter page. That's at JHunt006. Take a look at it. Get at me. Give me your complaints. Tell me where I was right. Tell me where I was wrong. It's awesome. It's all a bit of a guessing game right now going into the season. I'm really excited about the NFL season. Once again, if you're watching this, everybody go check out Off the Ball Network NFL preview tonight. It's going to be great. And then thanks everybody for watching, listening, interacting, and everything. This is Jeff Needs Sports. Have a great week, and I'm out.